Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your love snapshot for the month of July. This will be a short reading just oriented on relationships. This particular video is geared towards the fire signs, Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. I'll be pulling a few cards for each sign and then general advice. Now, if you'd like to see the general readings for the first half of July for each sign, they're posted on my YouTube channel. Just click on my Irish Gypsy icon. It'll take you right there. As with the general readings, these are general relationship readings, the love snapshot. So take what resonates and leave the rest. It may resonate a little differently for everyone who watches. If you are interested in taking a deeper look at something, or you like the reading style and you're interested in a personal reading with me for yourself or as a gift for someone else, you can email me at maggie1maguire@gmail.com, and you can see that contact info by clicking the description of this video. All right, let's dive right in. Let's take a look at the fire signs, relationships for the month of July. Okay. What's coming in for relationships for the month of July? Now, these might be romantic, love-oriented relationships, a different type of, it could be family-type relationships, or best friends, or close friends. But it would be a closer connected relationship. All right, let's see what's coming in for the fire signs in the area of relationships for July 2024. We have the Ace of Wands, an exciting new beginning for some of you. We have the Eight of Wands, so we have the Ace of Fire, the number 1 of Fire, the 8 of Fire, action. And we have the Star, beautiful energy, fire signs. This is for Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, but I'll pull an advice card for each one. So some of you have an exciting new beginning coming in. It might be a new love and romance interest. It might be a new best friend interest. It could be emotional renewal in an already existing situation. Things are moving pretty quickly here with the Eight of Wands. It's a card of pretty assertive, strong, relatively fast, but focused sort of energy. Things are in motion and in process. And here in the Star, we have renewed, restored hope, faith, and optimism. Renewed because the Star in the tarot typically comes after the Tower. So it does imply that for some of you, there may have been some challenging or painful or rocky issues in the past. For those of you, it might be kind of an emotional renewal in an already existing situation, or a relationship that perhaps maybe you'd been broken up or estranged or something of that sort, because the Star can sometimes be a card of reconciliation. For others of you, it may have been that you've had just difficult or painful experiences with relationships in the past, but there is a renewal, something new coming in that gives you cause for hope again. So let's peel it back just a little bit. Let's take a look at that Ace of Wands for the fire signs. We have the Five of Cups with the Two of Cups, the traditional soulmate, kindred spirit, or best friend card. Now, the Five of Cups is a card of grief, loss, regret, sorrow, and apologies. A pretty strong theme for those of you who are looking to reconcile with someone or improve a rocky relationship with someone, or a relationship that you've had with somebody that's been, maybe you guys have had an argument or a fight, or maybe there's been a breakup or estrangement. And again, that could be romantic love or a best friend love, because the Two of Cups is also a kindred spirit, best friend energy. There may be some conversations and some apologies here moving forward. Let's take a look at the Eight of Wands. It's moving along pretty quickly, pretty assertively here. Some of you may be giving or receiving apologies to somebody you have a karmic attachment to. With the Eight of Wands, we have the Hanging Man, which is kind of opposite energy, but it explains it. And the Ten of Pentacles, which is long-term security and stability. I feel like for a lot of you, this may point to an already existing or previously existing relationship, whether that was a romantic love or a different type of close attachment. because it looks like there was a question for some of you as to whether or not this was going to continue, or whether or not everything that you'd put into the relationship was going to be set aside if the two of you moved in different directions, kind of waiting to see how things, were going to play out. It may be that some of you were waiting on, or, there might have been some conflict around the next step in a relationship, particularly those of you for whom this would be romantic love. Do we go to the next step or not? Because the Ten of Pentacles is about things lasting. This is a card of legacy and inheritance. It speaks of all the work and effort that has gone into something. What are we going to do? Are we going to move forward? Are we going to set it aside and go our separate ways? Energy. Let's take a look at that Star card. Kind of a beautiful reading so far. It's like there was this waiting, pause energy, and then boom, making the decision to move forward or to reconcile and renew. So for the Star, we have Judgment, which is a significant, likely life-changing decision, right? With the Star, again, how absolutely beautiful. We have the Star twice. So there was a pretty significant decision made to move forward with something, to take a chance on something, because the Star card is a card based in faith as well. It's a card that says, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this on faith. I'm going to devote myself to it. I'm going to do everything that that I say that I'm going to do. For example, in a relationship, if the person is saying, okay, I'm going to be this way, particularly if this is about a reconciliation or getting back together again, whether it's, romantic love or a close friendship kind of love. This is, both parties kind of saying, okay, I'm going to do this moving forward. It's going to be like this moving forward, and adhering to that and taking that on faith and doing all of your part, because this is, one of the wish granted cards in the tarot, but it's based on faith, meaning you do your part, you keep putting one foot in front of the other and do what you say you're going to do, and trusting that there will be that joy and that abundance playing out in that as a result of a decision you've made. Beautiful, beautiful reading. So I'm going to pull one advice card for each of the fire signs. Let's start with Leo. Any advice, guidance, or messages from Leo? We have the Emperor. So the Emperor is our big boy, big girl pants card, right? The Emperor as advice is to make decisions that are about the greater good of everybody involved, not just yourself, because that's what the Emperor does. This is somebody who goes by the book. He's or she is responsible, accountable. It's a card about being steadfast. The Emperor is the ultimate grown-up, number one, but number two, the Emperor always understands too that every decision and action that the Emperor takes is felt by all the people around him. So it's about making the decision that's fair, equitable, even, and in the greater good. And the Five of Swords in reverse. That's actually quite an excellent advice card. In the upright position, this is a winning at all costs. I'll do whatever it takes to win, to have the last word, to prove that I'm right, to prove that I'm a king of the mountain. In the reverse, and this can be quite sharp too, because swords is governed by the element of air, which governs our intellectual landscape, how we think of things, how we look at things, perspectives, ideologies, which drives how we communicate. So in the reverse as advice, it's to not get too hung up on, okay, if there's a disagreement, do you always have to be right, even if you feel you are? To not be so sharp-tongued, to not be willing to do or say anything just to prove that you're right or to get your feelings across. It speaks more of looking for more moderate, diplomatic ways of communicating with your partner, with your friend, whoever this relationship is, to not be too sharp-tongued and to not be focused on, well, I need to come out on top in this conversation, or I need to come out on top in this argument. It's about being a bit more diplomatic and a bit more moderate. Let's take a look at advice and guidance for Aries in the area of relationships for July 2024 Aries. Advice, guidance for Aries. Very similar, which makes sense because the signs which share the same element often have the same kind of thread. So advice, guidance for Aries is temperance. This is also about moderation, but it's not, some people think this is a very still, static energy, and it's not. Temperance is actually just learning how to balance without, learning how to shift and adjust without losing your balance or losing your sense of grounding, particularly mentally and emotionally, which can lead to sharp and sometimes regretful conversations, right? My favorite analogy for temperance, I mean, in the culinary world, to temper things means to take things of opposite extremes and slowly blend them together, right? Not too quickly. So my example for this is being in the middle of a seesaw or a teeter-totter, right? Now the center is where you should stand. It's where you should plant your feet because that's the most stable part, is the center. The outside arms of the seesaw or teeter-totter represent things we don't have any control over: people, places, situations, things we can't anticipate, sometimes our own emotions. Now, those outside arms, and in a relationship or in life in general, these would be the things that you can't control, right? Including emotions perhaps you don't want to feel, but you can control how you react, right? So if you leave that center, when those things kind of pull you out, sometimes it's your own emotions leading you to kind of leave that nice, calm, I know who I am and what I'm about center, and kind of get a bit crazy, right? Or situations. If you leave your center and go out on those arms when they're going up and down, those things you can't control, you're going to lose your balance. Temperance, especially as advice in relationships, it's very similar to what Leo had. It's about being moderate and temperate and diplomatic. It's neither too much of one nor too much of the other. Now, in order to do that, to maintain your balance in that center, those outside arms are going to go up and down. They may jiggle your foundation a bit, so you learn to kind of pivot, to shift and adjust without losing your grounding, without leaving your center, And in relationships, this can be about compromise and negotiation. Maybe the two of you don't share the same viewpoint on something, but that doesn't mean you can't listen to how the other person, is feeling or where they're coming from, and they listen to you. And it might give you a bit more of a perspective on where they're coming from, and you can moderate according to that as well. So really good advice there. With the Five of Pentacles, which is a card that can represent feeling on an emotional level shut out, abandoned, rejected, not good enough, which, you and or the other person might be feeling, when somebody's just in too much of a rush to get their own feelings out. They forget that there's another person that wants to get their feelings out too. And sometimes just by making it all about them or not listening to the other side, that can make that person feel, like they're kind of the redheaded stepchild, the beggar, right? And the cautionary advice in the Five of Pentacles is don't miss what's right in front of your face, okay? Don't discount it out of sight. So good advice there. Now, let's take a look at advice and guidance for Sagittarius. Okay, we have the Nine of Swords and the Nine of Wands. This is kind of, as advice, this is Spirit saying, don't let your worst imagined fears of an unknown future kind of hijack your mind. I mean, that's what the Nine of Swords is about. Remember, swords is mental. It's the element of air which governs our intellectual landscape, right? Which is all about how we perceive things, because that drives what we tell ourselves our reality is and how we respond to that. So the Nine of Swords is somebody who is, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, but she can't sleep. She's consumed with something. This is thinking about something too much, obsessively, overthinking it, and almost always with the worst possible negative outcome, right? It's like you're afraid of this unknown future, but in thinking about this unknown future, you think about like the worst that could happen, right? And building it up into your head until it becomes so big and horrible in your head, it doesn't even meet the actual reality of that situation, and it can be quite paralyzing. I mean, I'm not going to say don't worry at all. Some of your fears and worries and concerns might be valid, but this is overdoing it. And it leads to, you know, the Nine of Wands, which is exhaustion, feeling discouraged, feeling tired, feeling like giving up, feeling like you can't see a way through, right? So be careful of the whole theme here for Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius is that there's hope, that there's action moving forward, that for some of you who have been through something difficult with with a specific person, there's renewal here. There's potential renewal, free will, free agency. What I'm seeing here is open and honest communication, open and honest even apologies. Yes, I was coming from this place, but maybe I shouldn't have said this, and maybe I shouldn't have presented that way, and I'm sorry for that. And, you know, kind of an open, honest dialogue, including taking responsibility and accountability for your own actions as well, and practice kind of temperance, right? Remember being in the middle of that seesaw or teeter-totter. If somebody says something, you know, and you react badly, or you're perceiving it a certain way, you know, things are tilting, and you're tempted to kind of leave your center and go, well, wait a minute, you know, but don't do that. First, touch base and see if what you interpret it as is actually what they were meaning to say, you know, and get a feel. Proper communication is each person listening to the other one, so that you can kind of go, oh, well, maybe they didn't mean that, so maybe I don't really feel this way, kind of energy. Always really good. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, the fire signs. That is your quick little love snapshot, or your relationship reading for the month of July, roughly the next 30 days or so. I hope it was clarifying and helpful to those of you for whom it resonated. If you'd like to take a deeper look at any of it, or you simply like the reading style, and you're interested in a personal reading with me, of course, email me. You can see my email address by clicking on the description link. I offer a wide variety of readings of all different types and lengths and styles and budgets. There's something in there for everyone. And again, if you'd like to see the general readings for each sign, they're also posted on my YouTube channel. Just hit my Irish Gypsy icon, and it'll take you right there to watch the general readings for each sign for the first half of July. I will see you all in a couple of weeks for the next set of general readings. Until then, stay safe and well. Hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.